This soap base, and I think in particular this scent, has been all abuzz in the wet shaving community. Today we'll be talking about Massacre of the Innocents by Declaration Grooming, coming up. Hello and welcome back everyone, John from RazoRock here, and today we'll be talking about Massacre of the Innocents from Declaration Grooming. Now this is the new soap base from Declaration Grooming called Milksteak. For those of you who follow me on Instagram, I did a live shave with the Milksteak unscented base and it was phenomenal. So I cannot wait for Declaration Grooming's interpretation of Parfums de Marly Herod in this soap. Before moving on, I just want to give a quick reminder to hit that like button below if you enjoyed the video. It's a really easy way to help support this channel and get this video in front of people who might be interested in what we're doing here at RazoRock. Alright, first off, let's talk about the packaging. For this recent release, all the labels have received a revamp, and I have to say, they look gorgeous. While you'll still recognize the Declaration Grooming bison in the front, there's a whole new paint splatter background, and in particular for Massacre of the Innocents with the red splatter, it actually looks like blood, which goes very well with the name of the soap. In addition to the new artwork, there are also some side labels now, which really just round out the very professional looking packaging, very eye-catching design work here. So all in all, I'm a big fan of this new packaging artwork and really look forward to seeing future releases in the same style. Next up, let's talk about the scent strength. So I'm going to open up the tub for that. So to my nose, that's probably about a 3.5 out of 5. So just a hair over medium off the top of the soap. Now looking at the scent notes from Massacre of the Innocents, we have for the top notes, cinnamon and pepperwood. In the heart, we have osmanthus, tobacco leaf, labdanum, and incense. And for base notes, we have vanilla, cedar, vetiver, patchouli, iso-e super, cypriol, and musk. Alright, so next we'll talk about what do I get for my nose. So when I start the lather of the soap, I get strong cinnamon and spice in the opening, followed by a smooth, warm tobacco, and then that's kind of rounded out by a very sweet vanilla. Now for this one, I absolutely adore this scent, but funny enough, for my wife, it's only an okay, but I'll live with that. Because with Massacre of the Innocents, I think this is kind of the ideal fall scent I'm looking for. There's warmness, there's sweetness, there's something that's very cozy. It's what I want to reach for in this season, especially sometimes, it's a little warmer, sometimes it's pretty frigid here in New England, and I think this kind of plays well to the varying temperatures that we might get here. Now, when I say I love this scent, what that means is I had a 10 milliliter decant of Parfums de Marly Herod that I got last fall or so. I've been using it, been very happy with it. And when I heard that this soap was coming out with this scent, I really felt like I was already thinking about picking up a full bottle. And sure enough, in anticipation of the set, I got this guy here. Albeit it's a partial, I'm all for treating yourself, but also being frugal. So let me just give it a little spray on here too, since we're talking about this scent. I feel like it will kind of set the mood in the room I'm in, at least. So great sprayer, hopefully you can see that through the camera. And so yeah, the rich warm tobacco sweetness is really just enveloping the air right in front of me, the space in the room. So, really sets the mood. So Massacre of the Innocents does have a passing resemblance to another very popular fragrance called Victor & Rolf Spice Bomb. And for wet shavers, you might be familiar with that one. If not the fragrance, you might know in some soaps, such as Oleo Soapworks Wayo or Noble Otter and Sterling Soap Company both had a dupe called Kaboom. Well, I will say that the tobacco note is more pronounced in Herod and thus more present in Massacre of the Innocents. Versus Spice Bomb, it's more spice forward, it's probably a little more sweeter. There are differences between the two, but they're definitely in the same family. Now, occasions for the scent, I would say fall and winter for sure. And as far as casual or formal, I think you can roll either way. This scent will definitely enhance kind of the air about you, quite literally. If you're dressed up a bit, collar shirt, maybe a nice cardigan, even suited up, I think this would work great in for a formal evening, dinner, what have you. I really do think that this style of fragrance, it doesn't have to be this specific one, but if you're looking to kind of build a very versatile fragrance collection, soap collection, there's the scents that you're wearing, this warm, spicy combination, tobacco forward, I think everyone should have at least one in their lineup. All right, now lastly, I'm going to talk about the soap performance. Now, as many of you know, my buddy Rudd's Shaves gave this soap base a 100. And to my knowledge, it's the only 100. So if you take a look at the soap in the tub, it's a bit on the darker side. And I think that's specifically for Massacre of the Innocents because of the presence of the vanillin, which I've talked about before. It can color the soap into a super dark brown to kind of lighter. I would say this is kind of a more caramelly kind of sheen. But if you compare it to the unscented or probably other scents that don't have vanillin, the soap base is pretty much white. The soap in the jar is pretty soft and it kind of resembles cake frosting to me. Hopefully you can see in my lather that there's a super glossy sheen on it, and it is extremely easy to work with. Makes a very dense, creamy, low volume lather. The soap is quite thirsty, and some people recommend going in with a wetter brush than normal. And I guess I might recommend that too, because the first time I used it, I usually go with a pretty dry brush and wound up with some thicker paste-like lather initially. Even after adding a good amount of water, I probably could have added more. The good news is, even underhydrated, this provided me a really good shave, and when it was time to use Massacre of the Innocents, I was able to dial it in even more so. Now, this soap base is the main soap base going forward for Declaration Grooming, so fans of Icarus and the Bison Tallow, you might be able to find it on a secondhand market or even from third-party vendors, but if you are in love with one of those soap bases, you definitely want to snatch those up while you can. One other thing I wanted to talk about was the aftershave. Now, this was my first time using a Declaration Grooming aftershave, and one thing I wasn't ready for was the menthol blast that was here. And unfortunately, the menthol is so strong, I think, that it kind of masks the scent. And if you really love this scent, if you're really hoping that the aftershave is really trying to extend that scent experience, unfortunately for me, scent-wise, that wasn't happening. On the flip side though, the face feel for this actually is really nice. If you like menthol, this has a strong blast of it. If you don't like menthol, you might want to skip out on the aftershave. All right, and wrapping up, after using this new Milksteak soap base a few times, I can easily say this makes my top 3, and quite possibly might take the #1 spot for me as far as best soap base around. If you have yet to try the soap base or Declaration Grooming in general, I highly recommend getting your hands on a sample. If you find a scent that you like, pick up a tub, because I don't think you'll be disappointed. While I wasn't totally in love with the aftershave, I love the scent, and I have to say I love this soap. While the initial release of the new soap was directly from Declaration Grooming, I do know in the coming weeks that you'll see them at Maggot Razors, at West Coast Shaving, and other vendors. So do yourself a favor, mark a calendar, make yourself a reminder, and don't miss out when it does drop. If you have anything to share or have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment below. I do value your opinion, and I try to respond to all the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing so that you won't miss my next video. Also, check out additional content on my Instagram, @RazoRock. As always, thank you for your time and support. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.